All right, there, Dad. How's it going? Can you hear me, Dad?
Yeah, yeah. How are you? All right?
Yeah, everyone's all right, Dad. Yeah. How are you?
Fine, thanks. Yeah, yeah,
Stuff. It's been a while, isn't it?
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I guess there's a lot to talk about because we haven't spoken for a while online. So what do you want to talk about?
Well, I mean, this post office scandal is incredible. I mean, that ex postmaster box, Venables, is it? Miss
Hmm.
Venables. I mean, the the lawyers the lawyers said that the authorization of the post office to stop prosecuting. Stop all the prosecute. They wanted to stop all prosecuting in 2013. That Miss Reynolds said, "Oh no, we'll prosecute so many," even though she knew there was a blip in the system.
Hmm.
They advised her, the lawyers they advised her to stop prosecuting, but she said no, we'll prosecute so many. I mean,
Hmm.
all these people that knew there was something wrong in the system and they were prosecuting when people have died, people have lost their homes, uh, lost their wives, lost their homes, lost all the money. All them people now they should be prosecuted. They should be sent to prison. All the ones who knew about it. But will they? Because
Yeah.
if they don't, it's an injustice to the, isn't it? It's completely an injustice.
Well, I mean, it is that, yeah. I mean, I'm reading now it's saying that they stopped. They were talking about all these bugs that were in the system, and they were told by the lawyers not to talk about bugs and instead call them anomalies and exceptions. I mean, it's kind of yeah, because that's
When they
it's
knew that, they should have stopped. They should have stopped the prosecuting, shouldn't they? And then gone into it,
yeah.
yeah,
But what going back to what you're saying, Dad, about the justice, it's like look at the world we're living in, Dad. There's no justice, is there?
no,
It's a
no, no.
completely
No,
unjust
but
world.
they should get the police involved, and the ones responsible who knew all about it and they were still sending them to prison. They should be sent to prison themselves.
Oh
Now,
yeah, I mean, yeah.
whether they will or not, I mean, it's an injustice if they don't. I mean,
Well,
I mean, 500 postmasters. I mean, some of them died. So it's absolutely incredible. It should never have happened. No,
no, no. Oh, I totally agree with you, Dad. It's just like when I can't imagine that it will happen. When you're talking to get the police involved, the police are on the same side, Dad, aren't they? The police are
yeah,
there to
yeah.
protect those with money and those with capital. They're not here to protect the everyday person, Dad. Right?
Well, no, they should get the police involved and prosecute them. That's what they haven't done that, have they?
No, no. I mean,
And when you've seen them on television, I didn't read it. Yes, I think someone sent, but I forgot to read it. Oh, things like that, absolutely rubbish. Like they're talking. Oh, I can't recall. It's all I can't recall. I didn't read. You know what I mean? It's it's such a farce. It is like.
oh yeah, it always is, doesn't it? It always is. When you look at like, I know you think I'm probably always going on about it, but look at the climate crisis. Those, the fossil fuel companies, they knew what they were doing decades ago, Dad, and they did it anyway. And not just didn't they did it anyway, but they paid their scientists to keep shut up, and then to put out all this data showing that it wasn't happening when it was clearly happening. Their own scientists said it was, and nothing's happened to
Yeah,
them, Dad. Nothing's happened to them. Because of that, people in low-lying islands in Bangladesh, they're going underwater. People are dying, Dad. Thousands
yeah,
and
yeah,
hundreds of thousands of people are dying, and the fossil fuel companies are making record profits, Dad. So you talk about, the world is a mess, and people need to start, opening their eyes to what's going on, Dad. Because the only way we can
yeah.
stop it is if enough people rise up against it, isn't it? Because all of this is all connected, Dad. It's all connected.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
those with power are protected by uh, well, the police, the military. Go on.
Well, yeah, I mean, I know we've talked about this before as well. This water board, it's just getting worse and worse. It's absolutely 60%. The water's going to go up 60% now. Right. Now, the 778 billion dividends trousered by shareholders since privatization, 78 billion paid out to shareholders, right? 2.5 billion doled out in the past 2 years alone. 1.4 million pay package for former Thames Water Board boss. You know, the rivers and the sea, they're getting more pollution in there than ever. They're paying out, they're losing money. They're paying out bosses big payouts. They're paying the shareholders big dividends. And yes, the shareholders won't pay out now to try and, it's 38 billion paid out by Thames Water, but 38 million, in the last year. But to put the matter right, it's going to cost 68 billion pounds to put all the matter right. So that
roughly what
the shareholders won't pay that, won't pay it. So I can see now it'll be the taxpayers that have to pay that 68 billion.
Well, of course it is, Dad. Yeah, of course it is. It was always going to be that way, right? So they've
had all the money. All the shareholders and the bosses have had all the money. They're still polluting all the rivers. There was a whistleblower that said when they come to check the rivers, they're told when the inspectors come in. So when they take the samples of the water, it's all right. You know, it's just that Thames Water Board is the worst. I mean, oh dear.
Well, across the board, all industries they're doing that. You know, they're told when when people are coming to inspect, when the inspectors are coming, they're always told that factory farming, same shit.
But they shouldn't. The inspectors should go when they don't know when they're coming. I mean, oh dear. What is the world coming to when this is happening?
Well, yeah, but I mean, we talk about this all the time, Dad. And what I'm saying is, this is how it's supposed to be. This is how it's supposed.
Yeah, but they've had all them billions of pounds of shareholders, and they won't put any money in for reinstruction. It's the tax holders are going to have to pay that money.
That's it then. Where are those when you're talking about the investors, the stakeholders? Where are they? Because we've spoken about this, maybe not on camera before, but the people who own Thames Water, these are like pension funds in Canada, pension funds in the Middle East, pension funds.
Oh yeah, it's most of them. It's foreign. Yeah. So they couldn't care what our rivers are like or the sea rounders. They couldn't care.
No, exactly. And what I'm talking about is pension funds. That these are like, people who've worked all their lives, have put their money into pensions, and then they've invested that money. In this case, they've said, okay, well, this is going to be a safe bet for our, when you retire. People in Britain are always going to need to turn on their taps, Dad, right? So let's invest, let's buy shares in these companies so that you're not going to lose your money. But, they must have known that was going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the water board, they reckon it's going to go up 60%.
They must have known it's going to happen,
it's absolutely crazy. They must have known. When all them 68 billion pounds they paid out to these shareholders and that, 78 billion since they've been privatised.
And it's going to cost 68 billion. So what they're saying essentially is it's roughly the same, but that 10 billion could have been paid to 10 billion could have been paid to the investors and they could have left 68 billion in to pay for the infrastructure to keep the system going, but they didn't, right? They paid it all. Yeah. So
they've just taken it out in dividends and big payments to the bosses, and they've just gone deeper and deeper in debt.
Well, what can they do? Because people are going to be paid out in the pensions, Dad, right? So what are they going to do? They've got to get their pensions, Dad. So it's a bind, isn't it? They should never have been able to buy that. Of course, it was stupid. But let me add this, Dad. This is what pisses me off: is you've got the politicians there, right? Who enable this and keep enabling it, and they're always on TV like being, oh, you've got to be patriotic, you've got to be pro-Brexit, you've got to be anti-immigration. The same fucking politicians are the guys who brought this in. They must have known that this would happen, Dad. If they didn't, they're complete fucking idiots, right? Incompetent. So they knew what they were doing, and they did it anyway because they don't care about British people. And yet, in the media, they'll be like, pro Britain, but they don't give a shit about Britain, Dad, or its values.
Yeah. Now, if we took them back, we'd have to pay. The government would have to pay them shareholders now, wouldn't they?
Of course, yeah. Same with the electric.
And then then the taxpayers have got to pay £68 billion to put it right. We should never let it go in any first place then, right? Should we, No, and absolutely. The water boards and the energy companies, we should have kept them as well. But
well, yeah, I mean,
look at the money they're making, the energy companies. That could all go into National Health Service,
But no, and not just that. What it could go in and should go into is decarbonising the electric grid, right? To make everything run on renewables and Oh
yeah, they don't put. No, they just give it to the shareholders, don't they, and the bosses? Yeah. None of it goes back into restructure, do they? No.
It was all done basically for short-term gains for the Tories at the beginning in the 1980s. So that they could be like, look, the economy's good. But what they were doing is selling off everything we had, right? So of course the economy was good because they'd sold everything we had. The proverbial crown jewels. They'd sold it all off, and then they had all this money. Hey, look how successful we are. But for the future generations, they now don't own anything, Dad, right? So they sold basically the future of the UK for their own personal interest, Dad, and they're considered.
No. I mean, the Labour government are thinking of getting the trains back, but that's the ones that's losing money, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, trains could, though. I mean, trains could, and they should be making money, Dad, as long as they take away all the subsidies on the airplanes, so that it's you pay the real price. Because you fly to Europe, Dad, for like 20 quid. That's not reality, Dad. That's due to subsidies, right? Taxpayers are paying those airlines, or the airlines are not paying the tax on the kerosene to run the planes, so that it's ridiculously cheap. And the trains have to pay, so it's more expensive to take the train. So therefore, everyone flies. There's stuff they can do about it, Dad, and they're intentionally not. One thing might be interesting for us to talk about, Dad, was the smoke-free 2030 ambition for England. Recently, they.
Yeah, how can you put that into practice, though? I mean, that's anyone born after 2009, is it? And it's not allowed to smoke. But how can they put that into practice?
Well, I mean that you can do the same way as we put into practice. You can't drink or smoke until you're 16, right?
Yeah, but what you have to do, you've got to have your card, and if you're going to buy cigarettes, you've got to show your.
Well, if they think you're younger than a certain age, they ask you for ID, and you've got to provide ID, innit?
Yeah, but you can get your friends to buy them, though, can't you?
Yeah, but you could say that about alcohol and everything, Dad. Can you? It's like, yeah, you can always ask your friends to do it. But you seem to be quite supportive of if they can do it, you're quite supportive of them banning tobacco, Dad, right?
Oh yeah, because obviously, I mean, I've smoked and I've got emphysema. I mean, it's not doing people any good. No.
Right, I know. Yeah, and I'm like, I can see that, Dad. And but then you're like, if you use that logic, Dad, you've got to then ban alcohol, because alcohol also causes liver disease and lots of health problems. That it causes early deaths. Where do you the way I see it, Dad, is like the government shouldn't be telling people what to do if it doesn't impact other people. If it impacts their own health, that's up to them. There's an argument to be made about.
Well, no, you can't say that because I mean, like these vapes should be banned. These disposable vapes should be banned.
Yeah, under this new legislation, they will be banned, Dad, right? Disposable vapes will be banned under this new legislation, which I do agree with, because that, as I've just talked about, that impacts.
I'd rather than ban cigarettes completely, rather than not after 2009. And that's I think that's stupid. You have a ban it. It's illegal to smoke or that or not.
Yeah, can you imagine though, Dad? You've been smoking all your life, and all of a sudden they're like it's illegal. All that's going to happen, Dad, is people will start buying it on the black market, and then you'll lose all the tax money that you had, which is quite significant. You're going to lose all that tax money, and then all these people who are importing it illegally, those are going to become rich. That doesn't make any sense, Dad, does it?
Well, no, I think they just got to keep on getting to people about like putting these notices on the cigarette packets, saying what what could happen if you smoke. I think you've just got to keep on pressing that, haven't you?
Yeah, exactly. And it's been working, Dad, hasn't it? It's gone from like 50% when I was a kid.
Oh, it is. Youngsters now, there's a lot of youngsters and not smoking at all.
It's seen as disgusting, Dad. For the most part, smoking tobacco is seen as disgusting now, right? So it has worked, and especially, I suppose, hiking up the prices. Although you could argue people then just pay to, people are making money importing them on the black market, as I was just talking about, right? But
well, no, the more money you put up, like the more it's going to go onto the black market, isn't it?
That's it, Dad, and that is why we've had this argument before. Why I always say that making drugs illegal doesn't work as well, because you could be earning tax revenue as they are in America now and many other countries, massive amounts of money as well, tens, hundreds of billions, massive industry from selling marijuana legally, Dad. Which the British government is losing out on because the criminal gangs are the ones making that money. It doesn't make any sense to make things illegal. It just doesn't.
But I don't think there's much wrong in marijuana, but then you can go on to it. You can say, then we'll do the other drugs, higher drugs and higher drugs. It can go from one to another as long as it wouldn't lead to other drugs being made legal. I mean, that'd be all right if it didn't go to that. But
yeah. But the thing is, though, what you're talking about, Dad, is like, and we've had this conversation before. If people are taking them now when they're illegal, why would you not make them legal and then get the tax money from it that you can put into preventative medicine and stuff like that, or to dealing with the problems that people have that make them want to take drugs in the first place, right?
No, there's so many these drugs now that's coming into it's well into America and it's coming into this country. They're like zombies walking around, and they're all and then they're walking past them. One of them, he was dead. Like you can't have drugs like you can't make drugs like that legal. No, you can't. No.
But if those people in that situation exists now when it is illegal, why wouldn't you make it illegal and then the government can control it, Dad, right?
No, you can't. You can't make drugs like that legal at all. I mean, there's only one. Marijuana, I would say probably yes, but other drugs, no.
Thing is, if we'd had this conversation 5 years ago, Dad, or 10 years ago, you probably wouldn't have said that about marijuana, right?
No, I wouldn't. No.
Yeah, so I mean, the things are changing. I think, honestly,
where times have changed. Now, when I was in Manchester, this is true. When I was in Manchester, when I was 21, I did not know anybody taking drugs. Now, at 21, I didn't know anyone taking drugs.
Hmm.
Well, it'd be nice if 21-year-olds nowadays had the same experience as that.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, yeah. But I mean, there were drugs around then, though, Dad, right? I mean, it's just you weren't into
Well,
them.
I mean, I didn't know anyone. I didn't know anyone that took drugs. So.
Yeah, yeah. Like if you look at there's they were selling heroin, Dad, in Harrods in the 1930s. It was being sold mostly to very rich white people. It wasn't a problem, Dad. It's only when it became illegal and people started cutting all this nasty shit into it that it actually became a problem. But yeah, I mean, it just, yeah, I think it's up to people, really. If it's not hurting anyone else, it should be up to you what you do with your own mind, is my, but, of course, you should encourage people not to. But the world we live in, that is quite stressful, and I think people end up just being like unable to deal with a lot of the stress and stuff, and so they reach out to it. But
Well, yeah. I mean, the way it's going, people are getting stressed, and now people now are getting paid because they're not because they can't or they can't work because of the stress. You never had that before. Like oh dear, dear,
yeah,
dear.
no, that is something. I mean, yeah, obviously, Dad. I think my generation, the better off we become. I'm obviously our generation's better off than yours, and so on and so forth. But the more that happens, of course, the softer people become, Dad, isn't it? Right. What else
I
can you say
mean,
about that? You know?
when I was young, it was just after the war.
Yeah.
Charlie, we Swedes were rationed and things like that, and that. But we never complained and that. Like it's so.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh no, no, I'm not disagreeing with you on that, Dad. I mean, it's totally, yeah, that's honest, God's honest truth, isn't it? Blimey, Charlie. It's, we're getting softer with each generation. Yeah, without a doubt, we are, Dad. So maybe we're not meant to be going in this direction. I don't know, or maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. Is it not a good thing that that we
Well,
don't
no,
have to
I
endure the
don't
kind
think
of
a lot
pain?
of technology is a way is worse for us, especially on the phones. I mean,
Yeah.
bloody hell, pedophiles and things like that having a whale of a time with these phones and things like that. So technology is good in some ways, but it's bad in others.
Oh, absolutely, Dad. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, yeah. As I've said, it's good we're having this conversation. I'm in Japan, you're in Wales. Of course, it's good, isn't it? But yeah, I mean, of course, it can be used for bad as well. But even without the technology, the Catholic Church was taking hold of the paedophile bulls by the horn anyway, Dad. Right? So pedophilia existed anyway without the technology, is what I'm saying.
So what about this Rwanda situation?
So the Rwanda, yeah. What about it? Go on.
I mean, they've sent one person over there now. They've given him £3,000
Hmm.
and sent him on a normal flight to Rwanda.
Hmm. Oh, I mean, it's such a it's an absolute joke, Dad, isn't it? It's an absolute joke. I mean, it's just so ridiculous. I mean, what can you say about it? The one of the richest countries in the world, you know, pushing its what it deems the immigration problem onto countries that the least able to deal with it. I mean, what can you say? It's an embarrassment, Dad, isn't it? Absolute
Oh,
fucking embarrassment. And the fact is, they're only going to be sending at the most a few hundred or thousands. Dad, we've talked about we're
yeah, but
getting tens of
it's getting.
thousands.
You see films now with the French police there, and they're still going on. They're still going. They're shunning the French police off and going into these rafts and that. Oh, dear. We, we've got to have a better system with the French than what we've got now.
Yeah. I mean, just the obvious answer, as we've talked about many times, that is just to put an asylum.
we know where they're hiding the people. They're hiding them in these old bunkers, in France, the old German bunkers.
Yeah.
Well, surely, surely we can catch a lot of these people. They're charging £3,000 a time, man. I don't know where they get the money from. The £3,000.
Well, I mean, that's life savings and stuff, Dad. Families and everyone chipping in, and
Well, I just can't understand why we can't just put them on a boat and take them back to France.
well, I mean, I would like to say that about the British when they were going around the world raping and pillaging, Dad. Why didn't you just take them, put them back in a boat and send them where they came? But they didn't, and now we're in the situation we are, right? So we need to accept that we're in this situation. Most of it has been caused by what we've done, and now we're getting a bit of blowback, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but in Ireland, the ones that's going over to Ireland, they said they're going over to Ireland from England, but Ireland are sending them back to England.
I haven't read that. That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, whatever you say, Dad, there is nothing that we're going to be able to do when there are millions and then tens of millions of people on the march because of what we are causing in the rich countries now with climate change. You just can't. So it's silly to be talking about tens of thousands.
As things get worse, as more more rain we're going to get, where it's going to ruin the crops in different countries. There's going to be more people coming, isn't there, to all the countries?
Absolutely. That's why the obvious answer to that is to deal with that problem now, right? Forget about the 40,000 coming. It's like you need to help those people because about 60% of them, after they've come across, this is important to know, Dad, right? What is that behind you? What is that behind you? Something here. I don't mind. So, never mind. 60% of the people who are coming across the channel, actually, when they get to Britain and they claim asylum, they get asylum, Dad. So that means out of every 10 people crossing the channel, 6 of them are genuine asylum seekers. And we're forcing them to cross the fucking English Channel in order to be able to claim asylum, Dad. That's fucked up. Because if those people died, we've then helped to kill genuine people who are desperately trying to get to safety, Dad, right? That's a fucking problem,
Oh, yeah, but there's got to be a better system, isn't it? But surely, I mean, it's the government's job to do it. I mean, they've got people just doing this as a job all day to find out the system. And they can't. Why can't they? I mean, blimey, they're supposed to be doing it.
Well, yeah, I mean, those people down there, I mean, they're not actually trying to find solutions to any of this because the solutions are obvious. We need systemic change. We need to change the system. They're just interested in their own gains and making it look as if they're doing something. Let's move on to Israel, Dad, shall we? Interesting fucking news. We've only got about 8 minutes left.
Yeah.
So Israel, Blinken now, the Secretary of State there, has been pushing Hamas to accept a ceasefire, Dad. Warning that, basically saying this is the best deal you're going to get, accept this ceasefire. And then Netanyahu is saying, regardless of whether they accept the ceasefire or not, we're still going to attack Rafah. It's like, what is going on here? Like, who is leading who here?
I know none of them are giving way, are they?
Well, that's not how I see it, Dad. I mean, I don't.
Hamas is not giving way, and Israel's not as well, are they? I mean, give them a bloody state, and then let's forget. They give them a state, and let's live in peace.
That's it. When you say no one's giving way, so what Israel and America expects is that Palestine, the Gaza, or the Hamas, is going to give all of the hostages back in exchange for a 1-month ceasefire. Why would they have to be absolutely insane to do that, Dad? Why would anybody do that? The only thing that would be worth giving those hostages back for Hamas is a full statehood within 2 years and certain guarantees. You know, I mean, why would they? Oh yeah, we'll give all the only bargaining tool we've got left. We're going to give that to you in exchange for a 1 month ceasefire, and after that 1 month, you
Oh
could
no,
wipe
because 1 month ceasefire, then they'll be back in again, then, won't they? You know, yeah.
Yeah, and they'll wipe out everyone in basically in Gaza. The finance minister, Dad, I don't know if you saw that. The finance minister of Israel, he's a horrible little shit. His name is Bezalel Smotrich, and he's been calling for. He says there are no half measures. Rafah, Deir al-Balah, Nesurat, total annihilation. That's what he's saying. He's the finance minister, Dad. That's like, Rishi Sunak when he was the finance minister to Boris Johnson, calling for the absolute annihilation of another country, or do you know what I mean? It's bonkers, Dad, and people are still supporting Israel in all of this.
Well, it could, yeah. I mean, it could be stopped in no time, isn't it? If America and Great Britain didn't give them arms.
Oh, absolutely. Of course it could, Dad. Yeah. I mean, and America gives them $4 billion worth of aid every year. Israel's a rich country. They don't need any aid. They can deal with everything themselves. It gives them that unconditionally, the only country on the planet to get unconditional aid from the United States. And yeah, you're right. If they weren't given this money, of course they would have no choice but to, contain themselves, constrain themselves. But they're not. It's so getting back to it, Dad. Take everything, zoom out, look at everything we've talked about tonight. What is the answer to all of this? That's a big question.
The answer to everything, well, the answer to that is give them a state. And why can't people live in peace rather than kill people, each other, I mean, look at what we're getting in this country now. The stabbings we're getting every day, stabbings. It's absolutely getting crazy, Thank goodness we've not got guns like America. Oh, dear, dear, dear.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's the world we're living in, as you say, Dad, and I mean, we both say it's ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. But I mean, for me, focusing on one little tiny thing over here, and it's stupid, because if you can zoom out, you can see how all these little things that we're all shouting about, and we're all angry about, they're all related, right? And we need
because I mean, we're going to get. I can see just when. The more rain we get, like when all the crops are gone in certain countries and that, we're going to have miles more refugees coming to all the different countries, aren't we?
Well, the thing is that you might actually, well, not you probably, but people in Britain might become the refugees, right? And all these people are like, fucking stop the boats. They might be clambering on the boats to try and get out of the UK. So the AMOC, Dad, right? The basically the Gulf Stream. That's what keeps Northern Europe, Western Europe, the UK and Ireland warm, Dad, right? That, because of all the ice that's coming off of Greenland, that is becoming less and less stable. It's weakening, Dad, right? So what they're talking about is that is going to completely shut off, possibly next year, Dad, at the latest 2100. When that shuts off, the UK won't have enough rain, Dad, to grow food. That's one of the things. As early as next year, Dad. It probably won't happen next year. The medium range is by 2050. So when that happens, British people will become those refugees, Dad. And what are they going to be saying then? Fuck, let us in. We're just good people. We want to live somewhere. It's like, fuck. Treat other people as you want to be treated yourself, Dad, right? That's what the Bible teaches you.
Well, we should be more of a caring world than what we are,
Absolutely, we should, Dad. Yeah, we should take into consideration what other people are going through, and if what we're doing is impacting them, we should think about what we're doing, right? And stop doing it if it's impacting other people. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, for all these rich countries should be helping the poorer countries, to to get out of them, and then we wouldn't have all this bloody mess about, would we?
Yeah, well, I was talking to my students about that today, Dad. It's like the way it's framed is like, we need to help poor countries. We don't. They're all right on their own, Dad. The way the system is set up is that poor countries will always be poor because all we do is take their resources and we don't allow them to use those resources in their own countries to produce stuff, Dad, right? We can talk about this another week, but as an example, I think it was Ecuador. They wanted to produce all the lithium that they use for car batteries, electric car batteries, and all the batteries for the vapes, etc. They wanted to actually produce the batteries in that country, Dad. And then all the Western corporations and the banks were like, no, you can't do that. We just need your lithium, the raw materials.
Yeah.
And then they take the
Yeah,
raw
we
materials.
just need the riches of your country. Yeah.
That's it. And then we'll make all the profit in our countries. So they were like, no, we want to do that in our countries. So they overthrew the government, Dad, in order to stop that from happening. And that's what we do all the time. Africa is not rich because of any other inherent reason other than we need their fucking resources in order to keep our fucking dreamy lives going, Dad, So.
Oh, yeah, because that was the diamonds, wasn't it,
Oh, diamonds, gas, oil, cobalt, everything, Dad. Africa is, as I wrote about in my book, if you actually fucking read it, all of the, the way they were able to get the first electric going in the UK, in London, was because they took resources from Africa in order to do it, Dad. The Industrial Revolution was basically, helped along by...
Well, the way the world is going, I mean, I don't think it'll be long before we get a world war,
It's possible, Dad. Next week we'll talk about that because time is running out. Okay. Nice one, Dad. Take it easy. I'll speak to you next week. Ta-ra, bye.